I would tell this to everyone that don't join the social media with an aim to push your product up on the face of your audience every time. Please don't do that. Cheer others' work, appreciate others' work, share your thoughts, share your struggles. There is no point of trying to paint a picture where everything is good and right and it as if it has been a cakewalk for you in this journey, right? Share all those things because that's what makes you a real person. Your product, your thought, your work gets relatable. Otherwise, no one can relate to you. From day one, the social media was a purpose for us to exchange thoughts, learn more, and slowly also share our thoughts and get feedback on it. And that is what features work for us.
This is your host, Dyutima, but you can call me DJ. And I love to inspire food photographers to dream. I spent 15 years as an architect studying buildings and constructing hospitals before taking the biggest leap of faith of my life, which was setting up a food styling and food photography business right from scratch. If you're a dreamer like me, wanting to start a new photography business or grow your existing food photography business, jump right into a world where I share practical, actionable strategies to improve your photography skills, to work with clients, make more money, all with a fearless mindset. This is the My Food Lens podcast, and we take you one step closer to your dreams. So let's go. Today, we have a very special episode. And why I say special is because for the first time on My Food Lens podcast, we are going to have two guests. A duo appear together. And this duo is no ordinary duo. It's a husband-wife team who run a creative agency in India. They are Victor Nama and they are Madhushree and Anindya Basu, a husband and wife team. Wow, that is something so spectacular. What I also find amazing about them is that they are a package. Let me tell you what all they do. They are food writers, food photographers, videographers, food influencers, and also have a full-time food blogging business. They are cookbook authors. They have both transitioned from the corporate world. They were both in the restaurant business. They had a family business. And ultimately, they landed into food blogging, and then they diversified into photography, videography, and so forth. Oh my God. These guys have over 100,000 followers on Instagram. And today, my conversation with them is all about social media and the role of social media in building their business and how it has been impacted with all the algorithm fluctuations that we've been seeing. I mean, we have all been impacted by social media in the last 6 months. We have all been a bit demotivated up and down, but I really want to hear it from them as creators, as business owners. How has it impacted them, especially because they have such a huge community? Have they started getting less business? Have they started getting less paid? How has their influencer work been influenced by the changes? And basically, what's their strategy? How are they surviving in this climate? What are they doing about it, right? They've got to make both ends meet. I mean, after all, it's husband and wife, and their entire livelihood depends on this food photography and blogging business. So what is their secret? What are they doing about it? Let's hear it from them, Madhushree and Anindya Basu. Hi, Madhushree and Anindya. It's such a pleasure to have you on My Food Lens podcast. This is the first time that we have a duo appearing. So that means double the fun, double the hotness, and double the information for our listeners. Welcome, and such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. We are honored. We are truly honored to be here. And
thank you, Dutima, and it's really an honor. Looking forward, right? Yes, for this podcast, I had to cut down on my morning workout schedule, but you have gone for your run. But I will make it up for it.
Yeah, and especially I think after this conversation, like you are so heavily into food that we'll all need our walks and runs after this for sure. Yeah. So I know that our listeners are at the edge of the seat. They cannot wait to hear what you have to say about this very trending hot topic. a topic that is a reason for frustration, emotional stress, happiness. Like we have such bittersweet feelings about Instagram, and we're going to go through all of that. But I just want to start off on a very light note, especially because you're a husband-wife team. Like it's so cool. Also, so stressful. I can't say
Not
how
cool
it
at
might
all.
be, right?
It's not cool at all.
It's not cool. All right. So let's just start with something fun and light. Like, why don't you guys tell us something about yourself that we might not know, or something fun that, again, we might not know?
3, 2, 1. We have not rehearsed this answer, but I vouch that whatever we are going to say won't match. So you get two answers in one shot, right? 3,
Perfect.
1.
I'm not going to.
We met at a blind date.
Yeah, it was a blind date. We just hit it off, and I don't know, and that also online dating in those days. I'm talking 17 years back, 18 years back. So
Look at you. You guys you've got into digital. You've gone digital to another level. I know why you both hit it off. It's because of food. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
food, totally. And incidentally, we used to run a couple of restaurants back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, and we failed miserably.
We are failed restaurateurs.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are proudly failed restaurateurs.
You are proudly failed restaurateurs.
But we are happy to be on the other side of the table. This is far better.
Wow. I love it. I love it. These are both interesting facts. And I'm pretty sure that most of us didn't know this. At least I didn't know that, online dating, like at that time, was such a taboo. Actually, to have broken that, it needs courage. Amazing. I love it.
If we had done this in this era, by this time we would have become brand ambassadors of a particular marriage site, and we would have gained many money and counting on the money. But unfortunately, that was those eras, right?
Yeah. I love it. So, you know what? I know that you both transitioned into the restaurant business somewhere from the corporate world, right? That's what I know. But how did that corporate take you to the restaurant world, and then the restaurant world take you to food blogging? Can you just briefly tell us what that happened?
The restaurant thing happened because, it was a misnomer. Like I thought, I like to eat out all the time. Okay, I am eating out all the time. I'm visiting restaurants. So why let's open a restaurant? Let people come and enjoy my food. But that was such a wrong idea. You don't open a restaurant because you love to eat, and you don't open a restaurant, at least in those days, about the food that you want to serve. It's what people want to eat that you have to cater. Now things have changed. Now we have so many chef-driven restaurants, but it was not the case back, in 2008, 9 and all. And when social media was not such a big thing, it wasn't even there. It was just, I think, Facebook, nothing else. The restaurant happened to me because I left my job and I wanted to do something, and I opened this. Yeah, and then I pulled him also out of the corporate world.
So for me,
the restaurant world.
Yeah.
With years of experience with some of the best corporates in India, known for HR practices and PCML level 5 and all these things, where the practice the benchmark. After 13 years at a senior leadership role, after a point of time, I realized, and it has been going on for some time, that I'm actually a very hands-on production, business-minded guy, trapped inside wrongly an HR's body. In HR, always you find that there is a glass ceiling. It's very tough on your chair at the decision-making process and stuff like that. So at that point of time, it was an age where I wanted to take the leap of faith, right?
I love it, yeah.
We wanted to become restaurateurs. We wanted to open, and this is again we are sharing this for the first time ever. One of our very, very guarded, nurtured dream, which never fulfilled, was that we wanted to open a Chinese restaurant chain across India.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somewhere down my laptop, the blueprint and the business plan would still be there.
It's still there.
Right? But somewhat like you, as we know that how for you the change happened, right? Ours is a generation who never thought of, there was nothing called food blogging or food photography in our growing up days. This was a completely alien term. And in course of time, if we believe in destiny, we all have somehow been pushed into this road in some form or other. Someone,
Yeah.
if I say in this entire content making journey, right? Someone may be driving a very fancy truck, someone may be driving a car, someone may be driving a limo, but all of us, we are driving. All of us, we are on the way, right? Someone may be managing a social media of a client in F&B, someone may be creating content, someone may be doing photography, right? Someone may be doing consulting. All these careers were not there at that point of time, right? We never knew. I wish we had known, then perhaps we would not have gone into anything else, but would have started doing that.
Yeah. Like simply, I have always loved to cook, but in those days, I always nobody encouraged me from home also to even go into hotel management because it wasn't looked up. It was looked down upon,
Yeah.
doing management or getting into that field. Today I would have gone, but now it is not possible anymore with the kind of commitments that we have.
Yeah.
Having said that, I like the way our journey has sort of mended into what we are today. And in our 40s, suddenly we are in a brand new career with zero experience.
No formal training
no
or degree.
formal training, and literally living in a Gen Z world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Literally working with them all the time. Completely different culture. It's literally like a culture shock when you work with the young people, but you also get to learn a lot.
Yeah.
In the process.
Very, very interesting. In a very short, briefly, if I may say, after I had quit my job, both of us, we wanted to open the restaurant chain, which never happened. I joined her family business, which is into government projects of construction. I managed a couple of sites, built a hospital, which was with all modern amenities, and I have literally built a hospital for the army over here, right? So I've done that with a modular OT and stuff like that. And the trigger was, we had gone 2013 to Greece and Turkey. I had clicked 3,500 pictures, which I had come and have shared in the laptops, saved them. The laptop crashed.
Oh no.
We lost all the photos.
We
lost all the photos.
We don't know.
Recover them also. We recovered, I think, handful of 25, 30 photos. And
so
lost everything.
So your Santorini, Cappadocia, Mykonos, everything is gone. Istanbul gone. And one evening we were sitting down quietly and we said that by the time we had our son, the daughter was yet to come, and we said that perhaps the son someday would realize what we have gone through. And in one of our anniversaries, we still have the dream and we keep on sharing with them. He will send us for a mini honeymoon once again to Greece and Turkey, right? We'll next year, we travel to Nepal. I come back. I said that I would not repeat the mistake, right? My best pictures gets archived other than any hard disk drive. Next year, we go to Nepal, we come back, and I was determined that I will not repeat the mistake. And independent of any device, anything, I will archive it somewhere in the cloud. Cloud was a very upcoming thing on those days. Why not, instead of sharing the images on social media, and Facebook was just beginning, I thought that I will also write down the stories. So picturenama.com had started for documenting my travel stories and my travel images. In the near vicinity, there was no plan of doing anything on food. The lady was going on cooking at home. Yeah. I was writing my travel stories and stuff like that. Casually, that eureka moment of the bulb, right? Casually, one day we thought that she had made, I still remember, banana bread.
It was a banana bread.
Imagine, the universe conspires. It was a banana bread. Casually, I thought that let me try to take a picture and you write some story about it. From there, it started.
Yeah. We had so many people coming and talking about the story and interacting on that particular blog. And those were the days when people actually read blogs and you had comments on blogs.
Yeah.
So there was so much happening there. And then we're like, oh my God, this is something. This is, we should pursue this. We should not stick to travel stories. Let's also do food stories. Let's just make something. But then also, it was mostly all the fancy stuff that I would, like a pie or something that I would cook and bake, and we would photograph that. We had no idea about food photography. It was terrible. And there weren't any, tutorials. Now you have so many
Yes.
tutorials on
Yes.
YouTube, but there weren't any tutorials teaching you food photography.
Yes.
So,
I feel like so many food bloggers will be like nodding their heads right now because it sounds like this is everybody's story. You never start off with a dream and you pursue it, just happens because, like you said, the universe conspires. And it's that moment when everything is aligned and it just, you're like, this is it, this is the right moment. So it sounds like food blogging kind of worked out like that for you. And so, yeah, tell me, did you then segue into photography and videography? Which year did you start your food blog?
the blog started in 2014,
14.
September, 1st of September 2014. So it's
Wow.
going to be 9 years.
Wow. All right. Okay. And when did you decide that you're going to diversify into food photography as well?
So what happened was that over the years, for the first 4 or 5 years, we have been writing stories. We started doing restaurant critique. We were a part of the city critique for Easy Diner, right? Between both of us, we did some round about 600 restaurant reviews for Calcutta. Right?
Wow.
So we have been doing that, writing food stories. In the meantime, I lost my father, and that also triggered me and both of us in terms of archiving more stories for our kids. We wanted to pass on what happens between your parent and you. There are a lot of unspoken stories as your child grows up, or you as a son, when you grow up, the face time and the conversation time between you and your parents or your child reduces slowly and slowly. It becomes
also
transactional. So when I could see and I could feel that that I will lose my father in a couple of days, the condition that he was in, it struck me that here is a person who is going away with so many stories about myself, which no one else in this world can tell. And in the last 15, 18 years, it has all been about the studies, about the marks, about the jobs, about career, about his health, about my girlfriends, about my marriage, stuff like that. We could never make a time to sit down that, Baba, please tell me my childhood stories, what I used to do. And no one else is a witness to it better than him. So we started documenting these stories for the kids, and the photography, slowly and slowly, we were very, very clear that our current work should be better than our yesterday's work, which we still follow.
So it was a constant journey into learning. We used to go through, all photographs on Pinterest. Those days, Pinterest was like
yes,
for just photography. So we used to go through Pinterest photographs and wonder, how did they do this? How did this light happen? How is this happening? So we were constantly looking at pictures, constantly experimenting and trying out different things. And that's how we improved. And it was a constant thing that we have to improve every single day. And it was a that we maintained. But then COVID happened. And that is when we went into, COVID happened. Before that, we were doing food influencing, a little bit of restaurant reviews, but they were never, that's not something very tangible, isn't it? And then the restaurants shut down. They were not calling anyone.
True.
We were literally, for the first 3 months of COVID, we were not earning anything. We were like absolutely 3 months penniless. And we were just motivating ourselves and creating content for ourselves.
Because by this time, the family business has got shut down.
Yeah, the food business had shut down. So we were literally with our backs to the wall with 2 kids. My mother-in-law, she was paralyzed, bedridden, and terrible financial situation. The blog was our only support, and we were not earning anything through the blog because COVID happened and everything shut.
But luckily, over the years, what has happened was that in any field, if you do gradual progress, even if it's a very small delta progress, right, you reach that level where your consistency gets noticed by your stakeholders whom you want to notice. It can be anything, right? If today it's a voice artist, if with every podcast or if with every voice modulation that person improves, the stakeholders who are there, who are always on the lookout of new, fresh thoughts and talents and ideas, you can make an impact over there. And we believe in that. So COVID has been bad for everyone, for us also, but it was also that thin streak of hope which came in form of that one of the largest national food brands in the country with the Calcutta presence could not fly down their
photographer.
photographer.
Good for you.
In the history of 25 years, for the first time, someone from Kolkata
Yeah.
was doing the photo shoot for them.
Nice.
And
Yes.
this is also because we were working in the food space and we
Yeah.
were interacting with all of these people in a different capacity. So a certain amount of credibility was also there in terms of that we understand our food, at least. If not anything, we understand what the food is, and which is very important when it comes to food photography.
True.
Yeah.
So true. And especially coming from you, Madhushree, because you are primarily the stylist in most of your projects, like because it's a team effort. So Anindya's behind the camera and you're the stylist. And a stylist most definitely needs to have very good knowledge of food, how it behaves, what it needs to do in front of the camera, how you cook it, how you don't,
Yeah.
all of that. So yeah, that's a great point.
Once that happened,
The work got noticed.
yeah, the work got noticed. And then we were like, okay, this is a tangible product. This is not something, like every brand needs photographs. Every brand will need content for social media. If not anything, it was social media. And social media suddenly was so huge during COVID.
Yes.
So, if not anything. So this is a tangible product and we should.
You saw the promise. You saw the promise. And you saw that there was a real opportunity and a real potential to diversify, take food blogging to one step more. I love that. But
very importantly for all of us, it's worth noting that COVID was a time when the business paradigm had also shifted. Everyone had no other option but to sell their product online. How do you make your presence online? You need content.
True.
So the demand for the content had gone up, had burst.
That is so true. And to have leveraged that opportunity, instead of being like, oh, we are hit, instead of being in the other side of the spectrum, you're like, oh, how do we create this opportunity? How do we leverage this, big demand that has come up? I think that was wonderful for you to have stepped into that opportunity. I was just reading all the things that you do. So from writing to blogging to videography to photo, literally my mouth starts getting tired spelling out everything that you do. So tell me just the range of projects that basically you take up to create a full-fledged career, a full-fledged income from food blogging and photography. Can you tell us the range of projects that you usually take up?
Okay. We have two identities. One is Picture Nama and Picture Nama Studios. So Picture Nama Studios is a registered company which she owns, and I am employed under her. Joking. But what happens is that we place ourselves as someone who will tell the story about your food product, about your food. It can be in the form of writing content for you. It can be in the form of creating content for you in terms of recipes, in terms of recipe plugins and recipe integrations, in terms of photography, in terms of videos. So there's a whole gamut of products that we do. We have also started doing small TVCs or films, proper food promo films. Because we know how to show the product and what story to tell. We have been there in the industry for 10 years, and there is a little bit of confidence and no harm in showing that, because all of us, all of us, we suffered from that imposter syndrome time and again, and we literally have to kick ourselves out that we deserve this place where we are. And if I say that, we have now started creating films for multiple clients across India. We are launching products. We are ideating for launch of products. We are launching products from small scale, as in small houses, to bigger brands. If it's a new type of product, let's say someone wants to come up with something which is a replacement for your original herbs and spices with drops. We have worked with a client where we have done some 50 recipe integration of the drops. So you are giving a ginger drop, you are giving a garlic drop, you are doing stuff like that, and you are showing that videos. Whenever there is a new product which has got less market awareness in today's day and age, remember, your client would need some form of content to create awareness about it.
Absolutely.
People don't want to see, perhaps that's also one of the paradigm shift which has happened. People don't want to see a finally made dish, let's say khichdi, with that product placed by the side of it.
They don't want to see that anymore. They want to see how it is being made.
Yes. Yes.
For Pictionama, where we are writing the blog, we still write on the blog. We are, the blog is running strong, and that's our first baby. So
yes.
Second baby.
Second.
How many do you have got that we keep mixing?
We keep writing and archiving on the blog because that's also another avenue of earning income. And, of course, you don't want to give it up. And what if there's no, you don't want to depend on social media completely? There has to be a channel which you own, where nobody else has a say on it.
I being the romantic fool in the entire relationship and about business also, I would see Pictionama as that balcony attached to your living room, perhaps, where after a tiring day, you'd like to take a break and just go and spend some time with yourself over there. Right? We write for each other. We both write in Pictionama. We don't know what we are going to write, but there are times we just open up and we start hitting the words.
Yeah, it's just our way of unbinding on Pictionama. And that is a place where you can take photographs for yourself. You are not bound by, what the client wants or what the client. Here you can go, do whatever you want. It's your space. So that's our way of protecting our creativity.
Yes.
Pictionama. And same goes for our Instagram channel, where we are doing the videos as per how we want to express, tell the story. So that's how Pictionama is.
That's interesting, because I always thought that on social media, especially, your content is very driven by what the market wants to see, the client that you want to attract, or what the client wants you to post, more than a creative outlet. Like for the blog, I would definitely say that, it would be a creative outlet for you, but the social media. So that's interesting, what you say. It's also very encouraging for someone to hear this, that, an agency that has diversified so much and that your entire livelihood depends on this business. Even then, you have the courage or the boldness to be able to say, I'm just going to post this because this is part of my creative outlet. This is part of my creative expression. And this is, maybe reminds me of why I started in the first place, takes me back to my love for what I do. So that is very encouraging, I feel. But can you just tell us, like...
in one of your podcast episodes, which incidentally, again, a secret, which most of the times I catch up during my workout, right? So it's a terrific combination of you counting your reps as well as you are listening to the pricing strategy, as odd as it can get. But one of the podcast episodes, I think Joni was saying about that, the editorial works are the creative liberties for us. Was it Johnny or someone else? I don't remember. But saying that we do a lot of advertisement or client work, but we look forward to pick up 1 or 2 or 3 editorial works during the year, which is like a fresh lease of life for you. I forgot to tell you, we have done 3 cookbooks in the last 1 year.
Wow.
So, 3 cookbooks, out of which 1 was released by Pat Macmillan, which is Masala Mimside by Karen Anand, which is now doing its India tour. And we did, during the lockdown, we did that, where after the kids had fallen asleep, she would give us a call and we would get into a video call to figure out the styling, what she wants and stuff like that.
I would cook and I would send up pictures in the mobile. Is this looking good? Is this all right? And Karen was in Pune and we were here in Kolkata, and it was a long distance thing. And it took us, I think, a couple of months.
Yeah.
But
so we did the same thing with another book, which is going to come up hopefully in December, which is about Bengali cuisine, where the author used to stay in Goa, and we used to exchange notes, and that's the way we do it. Coming back from where I started was that in blog, I have the creative liberty of doing whatever I want in terms of the pictures. I can take a plate half cut. I can go up close. I don't need to show anything but show one texture, one hand and stuff like that. Most of the times when you go to restaurant photography or advertisement or commercial photography, there are these bounding conditions which come up.
That's true. So like I said, like our mouths will get tired spelling out everything that you have done and that you do. But I really want to get into the social media side of this. I really want to understand. You started from scratch. You literally had this, light bulb moment when you saw your food blog becoming a reality. You had that same light bulb moment when photography became a reality for you. But this is only one part of it. I feel like there's a whole different practical side. How are you marketing yourself? How are you finding clients? How are you finding, the right pricing for yourself? So I want to start with when you first began, let's say your food blogging or photography, how were you using social media? And did you think of it as a marketing tool or not?
I was very clear from beginning when we started. That's the reason I didn't start even Picturenama as picturenama.wordpress.com. I started straight away with picturenama.com because it would SEO someone had guided me. None of us, we are trained peer person, though our corporate jobs needed some amount of peer skills in it, being in an HR or in marketing and sales. I joined social media not with a purpose of pushing my product. I joined social media to build a community, to be a part of community. And that has what has worked for us, right? I have followed the thought leaders. We have been very kind enough to be blessed and guided by some of the big wigs and big names in the food industry in the country possible, right? I wanted to build a community. I wanted to leave behind a legacy. And I would tell this to everyone that don't join the social media with an aim to push your product up on the face of your audience every time. Please don't do that. Cheer others' work, appreciate others' work, share your thoughts, share your struggles. There is no point of trying to paint a picture where everything is good and right and it as if it has been a cakewalk for you in this journey, right? Share all those things because that's what makes you a real person. Your product, your thought, your work gets relatable. Otherwise, no one can relate to you. From day one, the social media was a purpose for us to exchange thoughts, learn more, and slowly also share our thoughts and get feedback on it. And that is what features work for us.
Yeah. And these were the days when Instagram also were just beautiful pictures with long form written. We used to write really long captions, which nobody reads anymore.
You're telling me I write stories on my Instagram and I just write it because it makes sense. And it doesn't matter what the trend has changed, but you're right. It was so different before. Yes.
Yeah, it was so different. Twitter really worked for us because Twitter was, he's very into Twitter and we would get a lot of recommendations from Twitter.
We met some best of the friends through Twitter.
We made a lot of friends from Twitter, yes. It's all about building the community.
Right. And network and connections in the business world and friendships. That is everything. So tell me, how did the clients come about? Because social media, like most of the photographers that I speak to who run businesses, they say that a lot of their clients come through their social media channels. Like they'll even bypass the website sometimes, not even look at the full portfolio. They're literally looking at Instagram and thinking, this is the portfolio and let's get in touch with this person. So how did it work out for you? And did you find clients or did clients find you on social media? Like in terms of finding clients, what was the role of social media in your business?
I think it's a mix of both. And that's probably, like you said, it's probably one of the reasons when we had Picturenama, which was a thriving Instagram channel, we opened Picturenama Studios also because there were a lot of people who were not going to the website. We had picturenamastudios.com, but nobody wanted to go to the website to check. So we needed a portfolio on social media where we can just promote our client work, all the commercial work that we do. So hence we opened that. And then we started promoting that on Picturenama because that's where our larger audience is.
Right.
So a lot of constant, feeding of content on the page, shared on a regular basis. And I think that's how it just...
The initial
mix, I think, because we do get a lot of work through networking as well and through recommendations from others. Our friends, our colleagues that we have worked with, we get recommendations from there. Initial days, it is difficult to get your job from social media. Initially, I think the business is built completely on
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. I totally agree. Yes, 100%.
Word of mouth and referral were the first two strong
Yeah.
channels through which our majority of the business came in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Why it's important for anyone who is starting up also, because when you start, you don't have a considerable body of work to show. B, you don't have those accreditation in forms of the brands that you have worked with in your portfolio to show up. So one word of mouth, one referral, one word of mouth, one referral. That's the way you slowly start building your chain. When we used to do our initial brand coverage, or like the brands we have worked in, hardly we had 3-4 names which we had to stretch in a PowerPoint slide to cover up that slide. By God's grace and blessings of everyone, today we can safely drop a few names because
no more space.
there is no more space. But anyone who is starting off, word of mouth and referral would form a very, very key portion of the thing.
Yeah.
And also, primarily in India, and most importantly for Calcutta and others, right? I would like to say this, what we believe in is that get this to your head if someone is starting. Networking is not bad. Networking is not bad.
It's essential.
It is essential.
I actually want to add to that. Like, networking is not optional.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say.
about to say that to be seen at the right place with the right people is also your skill. Not many can do that. Not many can master that. You need to know to be seen where, with whom, and what to speak about. If we had not been pragmatic, if we had not been serious enough, then what happens is that when you are interacting with thought leaders in your field, in any field, if you don't have the substance or material within you, it will take 2 conversations to get a cold turkey, and you would never be able to interact with that person again, or that person would lose interest in you. Networking means showing a real interest in the person with whom you are speaking.
True, absolutely.
Not with your purpose.
Yeah. I also feel like networking is not just limited to showing up, around people who already have a name in the industry. I feel like networking is just going out and telling everybody what you do and who you are. That itself, like, I've had jobs from people who met me once at a random get together, and all I did was to introduce myself as a food photographer. People who know my husband have gone and then recommended names. Look, I feel like it's just about being social, and not just virtually, but be social in real life as well, so that you make that network, right?
Last 3-4 big clients that we have got, incidentally, we met all of them
at parties.
There you go.
At parties, past meeting, we had no intention of doing business talk, right? Perhaps you're sharing a drink, and then after a week or 10 days, a call or a message comes in, hey, would you mind coming back to our office, and we'd just like to see your body of work.
We need to go to more parties now.
There you go. That's it. That's the takeaway. No, but what I'm hearing here, like, again and again, this is what I'm hearing in my head right now. And that is that social media is definitely very important. And, when you're showcasing your business, heck yes, put out all your work. But what I'm more importantly hearing is that do not underestimate the power of word of mouth, of real people who are around you. And do not shy away from putting yourself out there in the real world, whether it is your local community in your city, whether it is your country, however it is. If there are events, if there are social gatherings, show up. So I'm hearing all of that. Tell me
another
one
aspect, Dutima, I would like to add when it comes to social media and marketing your business is very, very important. And we were discussing this when we met Sharansh Guela for Guela Butter Chicken very recently when he had come home for dinner, and we're normally discussing. Remember, any social media, and now this is for something which is at a senior level, when you have spent some 4 or 5 years in the industry. Remember, the social media has a flux of audience, right? Some are coming in, some are dropping out. Some are coming in, some are dropping out. Perhaps the average age is also decreasing. So what we believe, don't take it for granted. All who knew you 5 years back are still in the social media.
Yeah.
There is a new crop who has come in who may not know you. You still need to put in that much of an effort in networking to social media.
And introducing yourself on a regular basis, to introduce yourself on your platform about the kind of work that you do, because your audience is constantly changing.
That's such a great point.
Yeah, and that is something I noticed how, especially on Pictionama. Say there's a video which we have posted about, last year, and it was a big hit on Instagram. And you're probably running short of content this week, and you repost that video. It again does well, and with a completely new set of audience who are coming and commenting.
Yeah.
So your audience is changing every 2 months. Your audience is completely changed.
True. So this is definitely one of the ways that, you would say that maybe you've seen social media evolving, and that is there is literally a turnover of audience. Yeah. There's a turnover, and you kind of have to cater to that turnover. You have to, if you are trying to make an impact through your social media, go and study your analytics. Go and see your age groups, your location, see where people are wanting to interact with you from, right? So are there any other ways that you can tell us how you have seen social media changing over the last few years, considering from when you started, how it's changed today?
The big change from photo.
Say it.
We never in our distant dreams ever think that we would be doing videos
on Instagram.
Yeah. We were taking photographs, we were so happy and satisfied. And suddenly everybody wants videos. If you're not doing videos, nobody's looking at your posts anymore.
So what happens?
I want to say something before you do. I really want to chime in this. Like, I can't believe that you're not happy about it, because video is such a strength of yours. Like, didn't you think that this was another opportunity for you to showcase the service that you offer, or another thing that you have in your repertoire? Weren't you happy about it?
I would go on record saying this. This is the hook point of this entire show. You can go on playing this on a loop and use this as a teaser. Anindya Sundar Basu of Pictionama Studios is admitting that for the first 4 years of his first camera, Canon camera, I would be candid, didn't know that it can capture videos.
You have just made this conversation even more relatable. People are like nodding their heads and applauding you because so many people have the same story. Right? Thank you, Pash. Thank you for that.
I, being a slow processor, we have always enjoyed that our time as a couple, as partner in the business of creating a very nice image. It's like a slow cooked food.
It used to give us a lot of satisfaction, we would be like, tomorrow let's shoot this, and then we would I would sit the whole day and think that he would like, let's do something dark and moody, let's do this like streak of light, or let's do this something. We would think on it, like sit on it and for hours think and come up with this. All this before commercial photography happened,
Yeah.
When you have the time to think for hours for one.
That's creative photography.
But necessity is the mother of invention, right? The fact that we won't do the videography, what we did was that we had initially for a few of our brand engagements, we had hired videographers to do it. What ticked us off was, perhaps to an extent, the lack of professionalism. You cannot get the edits, the music and everything done as per that what your client wants. You cannot get instantly. The lead time of turnover or turnaround, the turnaround time was getting increased and stuff like that. We thought one moment it was like, enough is enough.
Let's learn it.
If they can do it, why we can't?
Why can't we do it? So he picked up his camera. Let me practice. I was like, let me learn editing. Let's not depend on anyone. Let's do this ourselves,
Yeah.
Because we understand what the client wants. And for our own videos also, we understand what we want to show. You can't get someone else to do it.
So Instagram's new introduction of videos led you to unleash your full potential. Amazing. What else?
And to look at the camera more.
Yeah. Nice. How else have you seen social media changing?
Yeah. So now if you see, it's just not videos.
What has happened is, in terms of social media changing today, is what I see is that compared to in the past when social media had started to be a fun place, to be a place where you take it very casually. The social media, when it started, it was taken very casually that you are doing social media. We heard so many stories that about reputed chefs and social media who have now become social media sensations. When they started, be it in YouTube or others, they were being looked down by the fraternity. I won't take names. There are people who are now huge stars in India. This is on a personal conversation they have shared that when I started, my fraternity, my fellowships used to look down. That why are you giving out all your recipes? Why
All
you're
your
doing
secrets.
secrets into YouTube? Look at
Mhm.
us, we're cooking at this brand and stuff like that. Now the gap is to be seen, right?
Mhm.
But in social media today, you have got people like an Adam Grant, whom I read so much. You have got a person like a Naval Ravikant, right? You have got people like this. So social media, the transformation has been now. I find it if you use it, it all depends on that kid story of how to tame your dragon. If you use it to your benefit, it's a great, great learning site also.
It's still that. It's still that. That underlying purpose of social media has not changed from day one, right? The algorithm might have changed, people might have changed, lots of things, but that underlying purpose has still stayed the same.
Yes. So what we have also started is that we have started sharing because we want to build a legacy and a community. We have started sharing some of the tips and tricks, right? What we do, or what we go through, what we do, so that people can learn from us, right?
Yeah.
And we build a community around it because food photography is a very, very still blogging and food photography both are very, very still unstructured, disorganized business sector, if I may call it, in India, right?
Mhm.
But having said that, even in like when we are doing for Pictionama, we never started doing the videos with an intention of getting brand collaborations.
We wanted to archive stories.
We just wanted to, because it was like we are already writing everything, the stories on the blog. And I don't know how many, I mean, of course, the blog still gets a real good, handsome number of page views. per
Around over
month.
700K unique visitors
Yeah.
per month.
So,
Mhm.
but then having said that, on Instagram, you're writing captions, you're writing all the stories in the caption, but people are not reading it. You could tell that people are not reading it because they would be asking us questions that we have already written in the caption. We just saw that people are not actually reading the caption, they're just seeing things. So that's when we thought that, what we are writing in the blog, whatever videos that we are doing, we need to speak about it also. That's when
Hmm.
we
We started.
started writing down
Right.
small scripts about the
Also-
food that we were shooting, and we were just expressing our views and our stories, our food memories, which are very relatable with other people.
Also very important for anyone who is starting is the best way, the most comfortable way to start, which will keep you sustainable
Mhm.
in creating content, is be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't try to do something which you are not, because after a point of time, I always say this in any of my presentation, that social media is a very, very hungry beast. You need to feed it every day. After a
Mhm.
point of time, it gets stressful. Don't do something which after a point of time is not yours and it becomes stressful for you. When we started, we were very clear it is the story from our kitchen, from a lot of middle class Indian kitchen in 70s, 80s, and 90s. While they were growing up, they can relate to the stories of our moms and of our grandmoms and of us, what we have grown up eating, right? The setup is like that. In fact, there are a lot of clients who have come and who have asked for a modular kitchen background and stuff like that. We have refused on the face. I said that no, this is my style. This is a
And
middle
not
class
just that,
Indian kitchen.
it has to be relatable.
Mhm.
You have to make it relatable. You have to hit on this nostalgia,
Mhm.
because that has what has worked with us, and we get audience who remember their past, who are living in the US for
Who have left the
years
country
now,
for
who
last
left the
3-4
country.
decades.
Yeah, and they get all these memories back, and they're like, you're actually connecting with your audience when you do something relatable.
Correct. But tell me one thing, like, have you, because we have all experienced that, how have, at least in the last 6 months, with all the algorithm changes, have you seen a decline in your social media numbers? How has that impacted you or the business? So that was part one of our conversation with Madhushree and Anindya. And what was your biggest takeaway? Like for me, the biggest takeaway was that one, don't ever give up. I mean, come on, they had failed businesses. And from there, look what sparked. They did not give up. And today they have a thriving food photography and blogging business like they had never imagined before. Imagine what would have happened if they would have not started this business after a failed restaurant business. Imagine what would have happened, right? They would have never come to this point in their lives. So that is definitely one of the biggest takeaways of never giving up. And how they talk about the power of networking and word of mouth. That cannot be underrated. It cannot be underestimated because boy, oh boy, we all know that the real world in many respects is so powerful, sometimes even more powerful than the virtual world. They both have their place, but we cannot underestimate the power of real connections, real network, and real friendships. All right, we are going to dig in so much deeper. In part two, it's going to blow your mind how social media changed or did not change their business, given how the algorithms have been fluctuating and going up and down. Stay tuned to hear what moved, what pivoted, and what they did to be able to sustain or to be successful or to thrive in their business, given the Instagram and social media changes. We'll be back with part two of this episode. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at hello@myfoodlens.com or reach me on Instagram at Gyutama_myfoodlens. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, bye-bye.